has some novel features to it. While it's not mobile, you don't have to touch the technology, which is a big plus. Things like museums and in classrooms where you have a large amount of public traffic or public use of it, it's sometimes better to not have people actually fiddle with the technology because it's not so robust. Paul, did I don't know what your question is.
Yeah, I wasn't quite quick enough when you asked about questions. Back with the other the image before, it looked like the person was actually holding something as well as all the battery packs and things.
Oh, okay. So are you talking about? Yes. Okay. So that's the input device. So he has pinch gloves. So to operate the menus, he pinches his fingers together. That's actually Wayne Bukowski, who actually built the system. And on his thumbs are markers so you can track and do cursor movement. So he's not holding anything per se. He's kind of virtually interacting with something. Okay. Can you project sounds into the scene too? Yes, we haven't done 3D audio sound, but people have. So you can project sound in relative 3D orientation to yourself in not only in the direction it's from, but by adjusting the volume, you can make it sound more distant. Okay, so finally, the last way we can do this is with handheld augmented reality, and this has been getting an awful lot of press lately. And so the idea is that you hold an iPhone or an Android or some smartphone, and this has all the components that the other systems have. It has a CPU, has a GPS, has a compass, has a graphics processor, has a camera and a display. So we can do the same thing. And the advantage of this sort of technology for displaying is not everybody, but lots of people have phones. So getting the technology out into the wild, as it were, would be much easier this way. And it's a cheap platform relative to the other platforms. Yes, I'll talk a little bit about Sabina. I'll talk a little bit about the Magic Book work. Okay, so this is just something I grabbed off the web. There's this thing called Games Al Fresco. It sort of tracks AR, and this is 2008, which is a little old now. But basically, this is showing the current phones that you can get and how well they react to being used for AR. And so, as you can see, there's a lot of different phones, and this is 2 years old. So I see phones as one of the first ways that this is going to be taken up in a large manner in the community. So let me talk a little bit about spatial AR, because this kind of talks a little bit about the kind of technology, and it's an area that I think in the future holds great promise, like I said, because you don't have to physically touch the technology. Okay, so the first thing you need to do is have a physical object, and you need to get the dimensions of it. And in this particular case, we actually built it, so we made some plans, and then we first made the plans, and then we physically built the object. But you could take an existing object, which we have done, and use a laser scanner and scan in the physical shape. So then you make a virtual representation of it, which is just basically a cover for it. And then you grab some textures. And so in this particular case, we're looking at designing control panels. And and then you can apply these textures to the object on the different faces. Finally, you determine, and this is all augmented reality has this. So you have, where the object is or where you are, and you have your display relative to what you want, to where you want to project, and so you get 6 degrees of freedom of the projector to your physical object. and then you project onto it. So what this allows you to do is, so this is not only just a pure projection, but the system understands the geometry of this artifact. It's a quite simple artifact, but so it's projected with the correct perspective, even though it's not a planar surface. Okay, so just as a little bit of a plug, we're opening up a new laboratory. It's a 14-meter by 8.5 meter by 4 meter room with a massive amount of projectors and computing and stuff. So we're hoping to project onto large things such as cars. Educationally, you can use this for training and maintenance work. I'm very much interested in using this in museums and seeing how you can make museum artifacts more interactive. And so these are just some pictures of it when we were moving in. How much would this cost? You wouldn't put in what I put in because this is a special purpose lab that's highly reconfigurable. So this lab probably is like $2.5–3 million with the building itself. But the technology itself is we can put together a small 4-projector system for maybe $10,000. So so if you had a small system, you could do that. Okay, it's all. Besides the software, everything else is just off-the-shelf components. So is there any questions about augmented reality itself before I push on and talk about some of the educational examples? Well, will it get cheaper with time? In this particular case, for the spatial augmented reality, projectors are getting cheaper and computers are getting cheaper, and those are the two most expensive components. So yes, that will get cheaper. So we don't use any special purpose hardware. So I think it will get cheaper, just as the technology curve catches up.
If you don't mind, I'll just come in here and say something, if that's okay. I know I'm controlling this, so I put my hand up, if that's all right. I just think with the issue of the costs and everything, it's really probably going to be more about people thinking up effective ways of using this, and I think that's probably what you'll mention this as we go along when you talk about the educational thing. I mean, people look at this and think sometimes that it's a lot of work or a lot of effort to begin with, or it might be expensive when you first do this. But this is the pioneering time for all of this. And really, I think the most difficult thing with like a lot of online education things and a lot of technical educational things, it's more about the mindset. It's more about people rethinking how they do things, because the cost inevitably comes down for this thing, any of these sorts of activities, and the ease of use of the technology gets better over time as well. What really has to happen is people really need to think about the whole educational environment and the types of activities and assessment tasks that we get students to do.